Good evening, everybody. It's Tuesday night, and that means it's time for the part-time bartender, that's me, to make a cocktail. My cocktail this evening is a French 75. It was invented in Paris, named after the very famous gun, the French 75. And the reason it was named that is because the gun, which was a big, badass machine gun, it mowed down lots of people. And unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on which side you're on, but it mowed down lots of people and it had a big kick to it. And so they named the cocktail after the gun. It also became famous in New York later on in the 50s at the Stork Club, which was on West 58th Street. But it's a great cocktail. It's a classic cocktail, and I think everyone would enjoy it. It is made with Proseco, which I have opened. This is a La Marca. It does call for Champaign originally, but I think that's it's a good one. It's dry enough, and I think it pulls it together. I also don't think to waste a good Champagne on something like a mimosa or some other cocktail. Once you start adding other ingredients, you don't really need the best, and I think that's a very serviceable and tasty Prosecco. And then it also has gin, it has lemons, and it has simple syrup. The simple syrup I use is a medium syrup, I guess you would call it. Simple syrup is 1-to-1 sugar to water. Rich simple syrup is 2 parts sugar to 1 part water. It's very sweet, but it's also very thick, and it gives body to a cocktail. Sometimes I think it's a little too sweet, so I like to do something in between. Anyways, that's how I make it, and let me show you what I do. So I have here my mixer, which has ice in it, and I have my gin, which is the Beefeater, which is 1 ounce of gin, so it's 1 part gin. I even think you can be a little more generous with the gin. There's a lot of other things going on here, so you can be a little relaxed about it. I personally might even add a little bit more just to give it a bit more of a kick. I have this one here, which is very good, but it does not, I didn't feel like it had enough of a kick. So I'm adding something to it here. And then I have my simple syrup, like I said. The simple syrup is very forgiving, helps the gin be very forgiving. So I'm adding the simple syrup, and I'm adding my lemon juice I squeeze the lemons. And then, like any cocktail with a citrus in it, you shake it vigorously. So let me do that right here. So now I've shaken it up. I have my fresh glass here. And so we're going to now pour in about 2 ounces or so. So it's 1 part basically it's 1 part simple syrup, 1 part lemon juice, then 2 parts of the gin, and then 4 parts of your champagne. So this is probably, given all of that, I've got a good amount here. And I am now going to pour out my it doesn't have to be perfect in terms of proportions. You taste it. If you like it and you feel like it needs a little more of the alcohol because you don't quite have the room, you have a sip and then you add a little more. So let me just taste this fresh batch. I like it with a little more kick to it. So it has more gin flavor to it rather than the strict measurements. But it's, again, it's 1/2 ounce of lemon, 1/2 ounce of simple syrup, 1 ounce of gin, and then 2 ounces of the sparkling wine. And it's a great cocktail. It's very, when it's ginny like this, it becomes more wintry. This first batch that I made was a little sweeter, and it's also very enjoyable, but it seems like more of an outdoorsy, summery kind of thing. This seems like a serious, dry winter drink. Either way, I really like it. The other thing is, I've used gin And I think that's what the original recipe calls for. You can now also make it with cognac. I know they make it in New Orleans, and I don't know whether they use cognac. It sounds like something they would use in New Orleans is cognac. But I'm sure it's very delicious that way too. Probably has a different color. But there you have it. That's a French 75. Bonjour and cheers to you. I am.